Okay, welcome everyone to the Public Safety Committee meeting for Monday, March 16th. And we will call to order approval of minutes.
You want to make a motion for that, right?
Yeah.
Motion to approve the meeting February 16th.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting open to the public. Anybody from the public? No one. Okay, department updates. Fire?
All right, thank you, John. You have our executive summary, so just a few other items worth mentioning. I'd like to start off with, we have our new Assistant Chief here tonight, Jeff Gerace. I believe you all know him. Sitting in the front row, very quiet, uncharacteristically. So, welcome, Jeff. And a couple other items. Historically, February has been our busiest I-91 month. We've talked about that at a March meeting the past 2 years. It really settled down last month with a lot of credit going to the Connecticut State Police. I don't know what they're doing up there, but they're doing it. I looked at the past 2 years, and we were up there every other day in February the past 2 years. Last month, we only had 6 calls up there. So what they're doing it, and they're doing a great job. And the good news is that's continuing into March. We're halfway through the month with only 3 calls so far. As we continue with calls, as of today, we're at 192, which is about 20 more responses than we were last year, or about 10% more. And as I looked at this point last year, we were at about 10% more than the year before. And let me dig out this paperwork. Just to close the loop on a topic we talked about the past couple of months, I have the administrative guidebook from the New England Fire Chiefs Association Recruitment and Retention Grant. And reading through it, there's some interesting facts in the fine print here. Number one, they're limiting the reimbursements to 3 members in each category per department. Above 3 members, you're put on a waiting list. Okay? They didn't say that in the beginning till this guidebook came out. Couple other things, post 9/11 veterans will be given preference. If it's a volunteer department, that member must commit to a 2-year membership. Even if they obtain a career job during that 2 years, they must maintain their membership with the volunteer department. And they've upped the percentage of calls during that 2-year period to 25%. We're at 23%. 2% is very nominal. There's several other things, but those are the ones worth mentioning. So we are pursuing this for our members. We do have 2 veterans that we will be bringing forward on this. We are still gathering all our paperwork and so forth needed to bring it forward. So that's what I have for fire, and I stand ready for questions.
I'm also.
Thanks for picking your assistant chief, and congratulations, sir. Glad to have you. Thank you very much for that. The crash truck we've been talking about a little bit. Any ideas, or crash trailer? Anything progressing with that a little bit?
Geez, Franny, I apologize. I don't have any movement on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No problem. Just keeping in mind. I saw you had a mechanic position open. Has that been filled, or how's that?
Yes, the head mechanic's position has been filled, and we are advertising for an assistant mechanic's position now.
Did 2 people leave?
Yeah, we've had two people.
Oh, the two
The
leads?
assistant moved up to the head mechanic,
Oh, okay,
which opened up the assistants.
great, very good. Good news. That's all I have, thanks.
Mike, just a question on the drone, drone activations. What's that mean? 3.
Drone calls.
Drone calls,
Anything
okay.
from a missing person to, could be a mid-state call out to assist the police. Myriad of calls, John.
Okay. And then 37, safety and support, MSA accountability?
Right, the safety and support company does everything from the drone work, but they also do an MSA Overwatch where they monitor the MSA air packs. We no longer use Scott air packs, we use MSA air packs, and they monitor the air packs on calls when the firefighters are using air.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. They can actually sit there, if you have to do an evacuation, a couple keystrokes, and on a heads-up display, it tells you to leave the building. They can do limited evacuations, monitor crews, crew members going down, a little low on air. Do it again, just evacuate that crew.
Do they still have the buzzer on the O2 tank?
The who?
The buzzer, when it's low?
Yes, yeah, but now it's split into threes. So 1/3 the tank to get in, 1/3 the tank to work, and then 1/3 the tank to leave the building.
Great. Okay, all right, thanks, Mike.
Ready, thank you.
And then emergency management, anything? Did you
Yep.
have any formal report on concierge that was developed during the occurrence?
I don't have one, no. We
No,
would
just
probably
curious
have to get,
if there's any discussions about, like after you have a big structure fire or something, you have a
After
meeting
action.
afterwards.
an
Yeah,
after action.
yeah.
I think I'd probably have to get with the town manager, and we'd have to bring a lot of people into the room and
I was just curious.
really develop that one. For emergency management, well, our last meeting was, our last public safety meeting was a mirror of the January meeting. After our last meeting, we began to prep for the blizzard of February 22nd and 23rd. We used the same prep and response model as the January snowstorm, which worked out very well. Interesting enough, the call volume during the blizzard was about 1/3 of what it was in January. For today's rain event, as always, time was spent proactively with the highway department, to ensure all the drainage was open. Town manager was briefed on the state's and Eversource's storm data. I actually have the most recent Eversource data here. They're actually predicting less rain than they were earlier today by about an inch. They're also predicting a less of a heavy wind period by several hours. So the heaviest wind period will be overnight, but for only a 3-hour window late, where originally was a 6-hour window. So there'll be another briefing at about 8 o'clock tonight. And that's what I have for emergency management.
Okay, questions?
We talked last month about preparation plans for like concierge or other apartment large scales. We brought it up at the council meeting when we refreshed everybody what's going on. There was a lot of interest in it, and you may need a little time to work with building and fire marshal and all that to come up with something. Just curious if that's something you think we should do? We should have some type of written plan?
I can jump in on that if council.
Oh, yes, sir.
We're currently working with the AG's office on a plan, and also I know the fire marshal's office and human Services in the building department. They're working also with AG, working on a long-range plan. So they're developing that. And with AG being the lead, it has much more impact and authority than just us doing it alone. But they are working on it, we're working on it, and when it becomes final with the AG's office, then we could talk about it in more detail. It's called it's like phase 2 of the agreement. We had the first agreement with and for the tenants, and this one is for enforcement and, what are they going to do in the long term?
Great. With that, though, my thing is something larger scale too, or can we implement that to other large hotels, evacuations of other areas in town? Just trying to think ahead if we have
Yeah.
another problem, a large business, something of that nature.
Yeah, I think we do that now. I mean, they have other plans, but between the fire marshal's office, emergency management, fire, and human services, and the building department, they do approach these things as they pop up, and they do have plans for hotels versus apartments versus commercial buildings. I don't know the details. And
Right.
these guys do, but I don't know the details.
Great. Excellent, thank you. That's all I have, thanks.
All set? Thanks, Mike. Ambulance, Dave?
All right. So first thing that I do want to, just before I forget about it, is I want to thank Chief Garrahy for opening up Station 2 for us during the storm, and also feeding our crews. That was very nice and generous. You didn't have to do that, but we certainly appreciated it, and they quite enjoyed being pampered like that, I should say. For the overall for the month, we saw an 8% increase, and that's across both Aetna and RHVAA. On the Aetna side, it was about a 9% decrease, though, in total volume. Interestingly enough, there was a decrease in overall, sick persons, but I think some of that may have had something to do with the way that the calls were coded, so I'm going to look into it a little bit further. There was some respiratory illness, and I think the next time that maybe Charles is on, we can ask him about, if there was really some prevalence there. We're currently busy with some training. We just finished the 6 full-time FTOs. 6 full-time employees just completed their FTO process. We have 4 paramedics that have now entered the precepting process after clearing 3 total last month. So it's been a busy month for the training. Overall, the split of calls, 77% of the calls have been medical and 23% trauma. And only 2 calls since the beginning of the year have been for standby purposes, and those percentages are based on the year to date. There were 2 opiate overdose cases in the month of February, which kind of holds with what the average is for that month. So with that, I will stand by for any questions that you may have.
Okay.
I don't have any.
Police?
No, I'm all set. Yeah, sorry, I thought you
Um,
didn't hear me, yeah.
Sorry. No, all set, Dave. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
On to police. Brian?
Good evening. We continue working toward filling our vacant positions. We have 2 active background investigations underway for 2 entry-level positions. We have a dispatch executive interviews being scheduled for next week, and 2 public announcements. We have actually one announcement. We have a National Drug Take Back Day on April 25th. That'll be outside the Circle, Saturday morning from 10 to 2, outside that circle where the flagpole is in front of the PD. You can bring down your drugs, prescription medications. We'll take care of that disposal for you. And as we begin increasing some of our public forward programming, we had a very nice program Sergeant Dina Velez put together for fraud awareness for the elderly, which we were supported by the State's Attorney's Office. And that was downstairs in the community center, and about 40 participants that day, very well received, and looking to continue to do that. For February, the weather certainly affected our ability to get out there with 36 inches of snow over the course of those couple weeks that we got slammed. I'm happy to tell you that we, since our last meeting, We constituted something called the Concentrated Traffic Enforcement Program. We've been hitting the Main Street corridor. You may or may not have seen us out there. And to date, as of just this month alone, for March, which we'll get that report in next month, but we're at 252 motor vehicle stops and over 40 infractions and summons in that area. So we're really hitting it hard, and I appreciate the efforts of our men and women out there, run the radar, run the laser for us, and then slowing people down in advance of the traffic safety program. So I will defer my time and for questions and for ultimate.
Mukesh?
With Lieutenant Morgan retiring, are you putting together another test, or are you using the list that you have?
We have to have, our lists have long expired,
Expired.
so we are holding both the sergeant and lieutenant's exam,
Oh, that's right. yeah.
tentatively scheduled for the first week of June.
Excellent, good. Thank you for the increased speed enforcement. I got calls from several people in town. They're actually seeing the guys out there and the girls that are actually stopping cars, and a lot of public support. Thank you for doing that, and please continue to help the community. That's one of their main focuses for the police department. Any updates on trying to get a speeding category on your activity sheet? Remember, we've been talking about that.
Yeah, I reached out, so I don't want to get too technical. I'm dealing with 3 different tables inside NextGen.
Okay.
So I can mine it out, but I'm getting inconsistent numbers between the 2 tables I'm pulling from.
Okay.
And so I want to make sure that I can run a citation report, which gives me a very specific number. It's tied to ticket numbers.
Yep.
Whereas if I run it through like a CAD, there are human elements where if it's closed the different ways, I think that's, Dave, you're referring to the same thing. One blip or one fat finger, if you will, can change the classification of a call determinant. So I've reached out to the vendor. They're reaching back out to me with either a quote or at least an answer to the question. But I haven't forgot. I've probably put between 6 and 7 hours on this task alone, trying to get you the report you're looking for, and
Thanks.
I'm working on it.
Appreciate that. Last month, we talked a little bit about that temporary schedule policy. Has there been any updates with that? How what you
As I
think
mentioned,
to
I mean,
handle?
it's currently the way that the language is written in the contract. I don't think we can plan proactively to really plan for every scenario. I'm satisfied with the language we have. It leaves me the latitude as the chief to make that decision as it occurs. So as an example, I mean, today, we lose 2 people. A 5-3 schedule might make more sense. A 5-2 schedule makes more sense. Certainly want the input of the union to take place if we're having that conversation. So for where I stand, I don't see it to be a large issue right now.
Okay.
The overtime line is, Mona will shake her head over there, it's been fantastic. We're very happy where we are right now.
Good.
And if something were to arise, it gives me more latitude to just, to explore that with the union, looking at the situation in real time. If we're down 1, we're down 2, we're down 3, then the variables are going to change what we may want to do.
Right. Okay.
All right?
Just keep in mind, I just don't want to see, unfortunately, if you're rushing to do something like that. Say, as we go back, we had 8 people out last year.
Yep. I mean,
just-
right now, we are, I'd say, firing on all cylinders, and I do see 2027, 28, we have some retirements scheduled and folks coming up on their
Okay.
time. So we will be getting proactive with keeping active lists and things like that, but
Right.
I don't foresee us, I hope, right, never can predict everything.
Right.
But to stay staffed well enough to keep us consistent, operating pretty darn well.
Excellent. Thanks for keeping an eye on all that. It seems like there's a lot of newer police cruisers you're using that don't have marking, the Rocky Hill logos on them. Why is that?
The first batch of cars you saw came in, our vendor was out of Berlin. Their professional rep, who was our rep, left the company. And it
Okay.
was not responding back to our emails to Lieutenant Smith back there. Then it came down to finding the right color schematics. I know it might sound trivial, but it is.
Okay.
We've nailed down the schematic with McGovern, the old MHQ. Has got us pretty darn close without being perfect, but close enough for government work, I guess. So you will see the cars coming batched out now with the decals, and we're going to go back and retroactively fit the ones that don't have them.
Okay, great. And also, it seems like there's more Chevy Tahoes being purchased than the Ford Interceptor vehicles. Why is we moving towards Chevy?
We've had a lot of problems with the Fords. We're losing water pumps on every car in cars. I mean, Joe's here, can probably film you. We've averaged about 5 water pumps a year at about $4,000 to $6,000 in that ballpark. And that seems to be a flaw. We've had a lot of recalls with Ford. And I just honestly don't think we have a Ford on our lot right now that was a hybrid model that has 40,000 miles on it and is 6 years old because we've had it back at the dealership so many times. So for us, we just thought it was time to try something different. We've been very happy with the Chevys. They're bigger, they're pursuit rated, more storage, and you've seen some of the size of the monsters we have. We have some big, ladies, big men who work here who are 6'5", 6'7", and need a little space, and I'm sure their backs are very I'm grateful for it.
I am just a little concerned. I mean, there's $7,000 difference. Fuel economy is not as great. The installation of, you can't take the Ford products, the cages and whatever other equipment, put into the Chevy, so you're buying all new Chevy equipment to put in these vehicles. So just the cost alone is significant.
I mean, the last 9 cars, 7 of them have come out of asset forfeiture, and only 2 have come out of the actually the account. So if it comes down to the $7,000 being a deal breaker for the town support, then we can talk about that. I can just tell you that we believe that the Tahoes are a superior vehicle at this point.
$7,000 coming out, or the difference in the asset forfeiture. The asset forfeiture, it's taxpayers' money. It's police use, of course, but it is our monies. So I'm just debating if a $7,000 difference. You said what? 7 cars you've gotten, Chevys? 9.
1 Ford.
So, looking at, you could have bought another vehicle with that $7,000 of savings on each one. So I just wanted to be mindful, or with the presentations that finance is getting, can you give the Ford versus the Chevy cars? I mean, you're just telling them you need so many cars, and they're approving it. It's a big difference over a number of cars,
I can't disagree with you. I just think for us, it's answering the questions, providing us a vehicle that we feel is adequate and appropriate, with less recalls, less issues up front. And as I mentioned, I mean, at this point, what we're seeing with Fords at 6-7 year mark, replacing 4 or 5 water pumps, I mean, automatically, I mean, that's our parts and repairs line is $45,000, and we're ripping up about $12,000-15,000 just in water pumps for some of these older cars. So I guess, and in the sense, if we want to consolidate, go for the lesser vehicle and cross our fingers and hope. I mean, this is just what my team has come up with to be what we think is the best for us. I certainly respect the finance component of it. We can have that discussion with the manager when the next time we go to acquire vehicles.
Are these the Fords that you're buying? They're the used ones that are blowing the water pumps, or are they new cars? Have you bought new Fords in
Off the
recent
top, I mean, I
years?
know for sure it's some of the aged Ford SUVs. It could be some of the cars we picked up on auction. I don't have that information in front of me. But it's just, across the board, you're seeing departments across the state migrating from Ford to Tahoes for the same reasons I'm telling you now. I mean, Old Saybrook, Weathersfield, Cromwell, State Police. I mean, we're not unique. We're not the unicorns here looking at the vehicle. We just find it's a better overall vehicle, and hope they have the longevity we need out of them. These cars are running, consistent, a lot, 50 to 100 miles a day out there on their shift, and we hope they last longer and save the taxpayers some money in the long run, but to be determined, right?
Right. Thank you for that info. I do appreciate it. And thanks for the good work you guys are doing, and Lieutenant Smith with the patrol division. Thank you.
Brian, along those lines, are they hybrid Chevys?
No,
No? No more sedans?
I don't think they don't even make them anymore. It's only they went to the SUV, it became their Interceptor. So the 4-door versions of the older, Tauruses that we're familiar with and that look, they don't sell those anymore.
When does that position go away for asset forfeiture?
That position went away in September.
Oh, in September? So the money that we have there now is the remaining, okay. So what happens when that is exhausted? And we're talking about cruisers, and is it coming out?
It'll come to general fund.
Okay.
Because the funds will not be there.
Okay. All right. I think, one last question. Is all the equipment, like radar and all that stuff, is it 100% operating in the cruisers, or are there some broken that haven't been fixed, or?
With the next 4 vehicles coming online, they'll bump 2 older cars off, and that will leave 2 patrol cars without radar units.
Okay.
And we've recently required an extra 2 laser units, which would give us 3 or 4 inside the building that are working and operational. So if there's no radar, we still can get out there with a laser as well.
Got it. And then for the positions, you're interviewing for 2 patrol?
Correct, Lieutenant Morgan's vacancy and the vacancy of an officer who left after we pulled him back
And
from
then
the DA.
1 communications?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. Health District, Charlie's not going to be able to be here. I just have a couple of, things here. As of March 9th, in the Northeast, he had indicators of COVID, and the flu A and B and RSV is still very high, but the hospitalizations are really have plummeted from January. So that's definitely good news. And that's Health District. Old business, speed traffic cameras discussion.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Kevin Halloran. I am a consultant for Ultimate. I have Sam Crawley, who just appeared on our screen, and he's still down in Virginia. We're not gonna bore you tonight with the complete presentation tonight. I think that we've covered that over the last couple times that we've been here. Sam just wants to go over a couple of slides for a quick intro, and then I think we're going to leave it open to Q&A at the end. Hopefully we'll be able to answer a lot of your questions. Go ahead, Sam.
Good evening. Thank you guys so much for having us again. I apologize. I could not be there in person tonight. I don't know if the slide will show on Zoom or not, but is it showing there in person?
No.
Okay. Or will it be put up?
I'm not sure. Will our tech guy back there put them up? Or?
Put the 3 slides up.
I think he's got them. Oh, I think he's working right now.
He's working on it.
Oh, perfect. And it's one slide, as Kevin said. He's 100% correct. I hope the general eagle eye view of the program, everyone is comfortable with it at this point. I do know for a little bit of that presentation, I was going in 2 times and sometimes maybe 2.5 times speed. We are absolutely available if there are any individuals with specific questions on that piece. Obviously, you can ask them now when we're going over it, but if something comes up, you can always reach out and we can answer one-off questions as well. So if the slide pops up here, I'll go through it, and should be pretty quick, and then we can just move on to questions and answers, which I think will be probably a little more productive for everyone, hopefully. And what I'm seeing is it's the Rocky Hill seal. So if that slide comes up and you guys can see it, if somebody just let me know, I can go ahead and go through it if I know it's up. Nope.
I believe the IT person made you a co-host. That might help you show the.
Oh, okay. So I can just share mine. All right, is my screen coming through? This should do it. Is that coming in clear for everyone?
You'd like to think, Sam, but no luck.
It's not?
No.
Okay, it's showing on my end it's sharing. I'm just going to try to share my entire screen and see if that works. That's working. I can see. It's like a funhouse mirror. at the present.
There you go. All right.
All right.
Success.
This, I feel like it took longer to get this slide than it's gonna take me to go through it, but I think overall it'll be the most beneficial. So I just wanted to highlight some of the things that not only, yes, we provided Ultimate, but that are important for Rocky Hill as you're moving through your process and exploring automated traffic enforcement. So number one, I have touched on this. Here at Ultimate, we are a Capital Region Council of Governments pre-approved partner. That's important because they put a bid out and everyone in the industry competed and they chose the top providers based on the scoring and the proposals that were put forward. In other words, it was competitively bid and we were listed as one of the pre-approved partners by the COG. This one is huge. No fee to terminate the contract. With Ultimate, there is 0 fee for termination of convenience. Meaning termination for convenience. So whatever the reason may be, if you did decide to put a program in place and 6 months down the road, town decides, hey, this isn't what we thought it was going to be. With writ, you just give us 60 days written notice is typically what we'll do. We do 60 days because it takes that much time to tie up the nature of these programs. You have outstanding citations. You're going to have all of the different administrative components that it takes a little while to tie up and let some of that phase out. So, but no fee whatsoever. Additionally, no taxpayer cost at all for the program. This is guaranteed in our contract and in the contract that was pre-approved by the COG. No hidden cost. As you move forward, there are many setups. I've actually audited a lot of the contracts in the active contracts in Connecticut, and on the surface, everything looks like, hey, this is what it's actually costing this community for this program. But when you look at the contract, there's a lot of hidden costs that may be a fee per, missed change in schedule for the school zone flashing time. So the enforcement speed was off for that period. Well, it may have actual cost embedded in that contract for each of those citations that were processed and sent over to law enforcement. So a thorough review of contracts is crucial because the active ones do have quite a bit of costs that are not covered in the flat original cost structure for their program. Flexible system technology is important for any partner when you're looking at it. You want to have the ability to meet the needs of the physical zone in which you're going to enforce. Here at Ultimate, we do our own work. It's US based. We've talked about data, and I'm going to finish up with data on this slide. Last month when we were up there, and even the first month as well, none of your data is going to be outsourced to countries overseas if you're partnered with Ultimate. We do all of it in-house with US-based employees. This is very important for safeguarding the data and the time that we actually hold the data to properly prosecute the violations that are issued. I know Kevin has shared a document that goes deeper into the Connecticut law, but you own all of the data for this program. At the end of the day, we are extremely rigorous with following the state law, and the only purpose any data collected from our system serves is to prove that someone sped through that enforced zone. That's it, and we will purge that data as required by state law. It's never for sale. We don't share it. It's your data that we hold on to perform the duties of the program. And that's all we do with it. And it's always going to be right here in the US with us and you. So that is what I wanted to review, just to give a quick overview of what are very important components that the town's going to want to keep in mind as you further research and take your next steps regarding a potential ATSD program. And with that, we can open it up to questions and look forward to having a chance to answer questions from you guys.
How long is the data held for?
The data is held for 30 days after the disposition of the case.
Thank you, Kevin, for this informative breakdown of all the information.
Yeah, at the last meeting, I was listening to what you were saying. There were several questions. Hopefully, I addressed some of those questions that you had.
I did, yeah. It really covered a lot of it.
You know, I'm sure that there's a lot more questions that you folks have. Glad to answer it. So,
I'd just like to direct to the police chief, our PD has to overview the violation to confirm it's an accurate violation. How do we plan on handling that? You having a designated officer or a sergeant, or how's
So-
that gonna work?
My concept at this point would be to find a part-time part-timer, if you will,
Okay.
to be funded out of this program.
Fair. That sounds like a great idea. Other than I wouldn't want to see like a 4-hour minimum for them to do it. If it takes them an hour or two, do you know how that would work? Is there such a thing?
I
Is
can
there
tell
not?
you, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a police officer, would it?
My intentions would be is to discuss that with you. I don't envision it being an active police officer, maybe a retired one, maybe another
Right.
member of the community or public service safety. Obviously, within the labor laws of how many hours per week, we have certain things that get triggered, such as sick days and the labor side of things that we have to be very careful about. But in going into it, other programs I see are utilizing part-timers. Middletown actually is up to 3 people now doing the amount of citations they have. But from what Sam has explained and Kevin, it's roughly about 15 seconds per speeding violation, and the
Okay.
person will be, there'll be enough work there for one person, if not more in the future, to ensure that we're getting our value, return on investment, if you will.
Oh, I thought there had to be a police officer confirming he's just somebody from the police department. Is that what it is?
well, it has to be under the control of the police department. So,
Okay.
yeah, you could have a civilian employee verify the violations. So if there's any questions or any escalation of the citation, they would have a sworn officer overseeing the project within the question. would
Yeah,
go-
within the ordinance, the Public Act, it's whomever could be a sworn personnel, or whoever the LTA, the local traffic authority, approves.
Correct.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. And then, are you in favor of this, chief, to do this program?
When we started out in this venture, I was open and clear. I don't think this community deserves to be over-policed. And having told, this technology throughout the town. I think that we look, and if we address the problem areas, and we do it the right way, and we look at locations that have a large number of speeding violations when we study it, or accidents related to the red light turns or intersectional turns, yeah, I think it can be effective. And I'll give you an example. Main Street Corridor, we learned, that was eye-opening to us when we saw the numbers, and that's what Ultimate did for us. And since we've been hitting that on concentrating there, I mean, there's more violations and more stops there than I anticipated, and I've worked here a long time. All right, and another location that I would want to look at down the line would be the West Street Corridor, which is where we're going to be targeting next week with our next enforcement effort. But the highway ramps there specifically with the angular accidents, fire departments here, we can talk over the career of how many high-speed accidents we're seeing at West Street southbound on ramp, specifically morning, afternoons with the sun glare, and also the volume of traffic. So that's another location. I think if we target, long way of saying, I think if we look at the right places and we don't just saturate our town, we do it right, we can solve some problems and keep people safer and slow people down and reduce accidents in some critical areas. So I am in support of the program.
Perfect.
Do you mind if I jump in?
Sure.
So that's the beauty of our program that we have here at Ultimate. We are data-driven. As you know, if you sign on with us as customers, we develop the application to OSTA, and part of that application to OSTA, we retain data from the Connecticut Crash Repository at UConn, and we do crash analysis throughout the town for you. We can make recommendations. However, I'm sure that the police department anecdotally has ideas, and town members also have ideas as to where they might be the most applicable in the case for Rocky Hill. However, sometimes, like you said, when you see the data or you see what's really happening, it's eye-opening. And we do provide free speed studies also.
Good. And one last question, if this gets approved, how long, once it goes through the process, does it take you guys to actually put the cameras up and get it running?
Through the process. Well, it depends.
After the process is complete, like for you physically to install your
So
equipment.
after the application,
I can,
Hey, Sam, go
I can
ahead,
jump in on that one, sure. So typically what we see from the time we partner with the community, it is 120 days. So 4 months is the longest that we typically see to get the cameras live.
Okay.
In Connecticut, with the formal state approval process, so far we are sticking right with that time limit. So I think it's safe to say when we're formally partnered, you're looking at right around 4 months, especially when we already have the data on some of the zones. That speeds up getting that ATSD plan put in place. It's also notable, the formal plan that's sent to OSTA for approval, we have actually seen the quickest turnaround for approval where we've put our plans in that have been approved. So that helps us meet that goal.
So we have dedicated teams that help you develop this process and get it to the submission of OSTA. Then we're kind of in the hands of OSTA and for them to review it, to get it back to us, and then, then we go to work installing them.
Sam, I can't thank Kevin enough for putting this, breaking everything down, the overview. That answered most of my questions, and I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay.
So on that note, the only thing Kevin got wrong tonight was originally our relationship with Kevin was as a consultant, but I do want to make sure everybody remembers he introduced himself as a consultant tonight, but Kevin is actually the account manager who will work directly with our partners in Connecticut. And we couldn't be more excited because that is a excellent example of how Kevin approaches what we do and with our partners. So I appreciate you you acknowledging that, and that's fantastic. Yeah, that was a great document to put together. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam, and I appreciate you exposing my flaws. Thank you.
What else can the floating head do?
It's all right, you stood me up tonight.
Yeah.
Good point.
I have to apologize because I missed part of the conversation last time. So some of it might be some catch-up.
Sure.
In terms of, what's your opinion on the various towns that have set up the cameras and the ones that are in the process? What's the average time frame for data, keeping the data? Because some of the articles I've read state 7 days, 30 days. There's, I think, a couple of police chiefs that wanted 60 or 90 because of investigations. So what's your opinion?
I don't have an opinion on it. I can tell you what the state law says, to be quite honest with you. The police can't use this data for investigations. The data is merely used for issuing citations for people who violate the speed limits or go through red lines. And with that threshold of the 10 miles an hour over the speed limit. So the state law in regard to municipal citations requires it, or the 14307C requires that the data is expunged from our systems 30 days after the disposition of the case. So somebody might appeal the case and or they pay it.
And just to clarify, what you're seeing, I think might be confusing, is they're talking about license plate LPR data, which we have LPRs, but these are not
Okay.
LPRs.
All
So
Yeah.
that 7-day retention and for criminal investigation they're currently working on the bill
Right.
to change retention periods for LPR data.
Okay.
Right, so the big difference between the LPRs is the LPRs collect the data. The police hold on to it for whatever the state statute is. I'm not really familiar with, I think it's silent to it. And they use that data later for retrospective investigations. Our data is merely used, again, just to capture the violation. Those people that are driving legally, that drive through the speed zones, their photographs, their data is not captured in the system. So we're a huge difference between ALPRs and speed cameras. We don't do active surveillance. Our events are just triggered on that threshold that is broken for speed limits.
So that issue with, I think it was Windsor or South Windsor with the ALCU, was that these cameras or was that
That's
the?
my,
I believe that's license plate
is
readers.
that the one for the FOI request
Yeah.
for the?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, that was purely, that was the flock camera system. We have a Recore camera, LPR system, but that was specifically about the retention period and whether or not that data, the license plate data, is something that's subject to FOI. They did lose at the FOI commission, overruled their denial. So as of right now, license plate data, well, it's still being litigated a second time, I think, but is considered FOIable, freedom of information, subject to FOI.
Okay. How many cameras are you looking for?
Traffic cameras?
Yeah.
That's a decision if this committee moves it forward and we're approaching getting the ordinance developed. I think that's where I think we can talk together here in this committee. I want this to be your choice. I want this to be the community's choice, not mine. I certainly can give you my advice and recommendations, what I think would be helpful and have a positive impact. But again, I don't think that's my decision to make. I think that's this committee's and ours together as a group and as a community, and particularly when we seek their input here. If we do move forward, it goes to public session, they get an opportunity to speak, and I think that's where I'd be looking for your guidance about what you think enough is and what too much is. We may not agree. I may think what you may think is too much is too, you may want more than I think is adequate, but again, this is a community venture. It's not a police department venture. This is all of us here deciding it's the best interest for the town to do it, and we work together to find that answer.
So if the question comes up about data retention period, is it strictly 30 days, or is there,
So
if somebody argues and says, we feel 14
It's clearly
days,
delineated in the state statute, and we have to abide by the state
it
statute.
doesn't say, well, I didn't,
Up to,
30 days?
no, it's 30 days.
30 days?
30
But
days.
it doesn't have a clause in there about the municipality could go beyond that if,
The state statute doesn't provide for that.
okay. So it's strictly
The
30
state of
days.
Connecticut, the state legislature put some serious guardrails on this statute, and part of that reason that they did these guardrails were because of, well, some of it has to do with the ALPRs, with information that was used from ALPRs. We can't share the data with any other agency. We don't respond to FOI requests directly. It has to go back to the town. The town requests the information from us, and we'll provide the information. We can't provide any personal identifying information regard to the violators. And they put these guardrails in place to protect those people that may be going seeking medical attention from outside states, to not track illegal immigrants, and a host of other different things to put those guardrails in place so that the data is not misused.
Okay. So forgive me if this is the license plate reader. If somebody gets a violation within the 30 days, and then at 30 days it gets removed, the data, then they get another violation the next month, the same person.
Right.
Is it treated as a first offense?
No, so all their personal identifying information is removed from our system. We can retain a minimal amount of information. I believe it's just license plate numbers for subsequent violations. And with that, we would have to go through the whole process again of running the license, because we don't have their personal information anymore. So you're saying if the person gets a violation after the 30 days has expired,
Well,
after
like
the...
within the 30 days, they get their first violation.
We still have to run it through the whole process of going through endlets, running the plates, everything else like that for the person.
So if they receive multiple violations within 30 days, then it's treated as violation 1, violation 2?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So the first violation is $50 for the offender. Subsequent violations is $75.
Okay. All right. Anything, Ray?
No, I'm good.
You guys want to move forward?
Sure.
All yours, Councilor Whalen.
So it's a top one, I take it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion. After reviewing Public Act 23-116 and in consideration of several presentations and discussion with Ultimate and Company, one of the three CROG pre-approved traffic, automated traffic enforcement safety data device vendors, and the Public Safety Commission recommends that the Town Council authorize the Town Manager to pursue a request for approval of all CROG pre-qualified vendors for implementation of this ATE-SD system in accordance with Public Act 23-116.
Second.
Could I make a suggestion for your, maybe a correction at the end? You should maybe have it aligned with the Connecticut General Statute 14307C.
And which
The
is
public
what?
act, the public act was turned into the law.
Oh, it's turned into that.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
We'll
welcome.
add that.
Okay. It's been seconded.
I seconded, so we have to do it all over.
No, we'll just make sure that
We'll add that.
thing is in there, in the minutes, yeah.
14-307C
Correct.
Right.
is the new statute regarding that public act.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Just one quick question.
Sam.
So you have Milford, are there any other towns on the books for you?
Milford, Fairfield, North Haven, Sam, what's the last one?
New Britain.
New Britain.
New Britain.
And we're in conversation with many other towns and cities in the state of Connecticut.
Got it. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks,
Thank
Sam.
you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, everyone.
Input.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, next up, discussion possible action on-scene media relations policy. Ray, where are we with this?
Haven't even started.
Allow 30 pages.
I did the draft. The draft was sent to Attorney Rich Roberts, our town attorney. He had very minimal recommendations. His email is attached, dated 1/27/26. His only concern is basically, First Amendment free speech regarding, like police officers and fire and EMS personnel posting incident pictures on their websites, their personal website. And I'm pretty sure general rules and general orders probably cover that anyway, right?
Yes, they do.
Is that for police also? Or just fire?
We have statutes that prohibit us from posting crime scene pictures for other than law enforcement purposes.
So the red is what was added, Ray?
I don't want to get involved in color after last time.
Yeah. Any color except black
Yes,
is a change.
yes.
We go other way around.
It's only red,
It's only red, right?
yeah.
Mine's in black and white.
Or is it, I've got it here. There's only a couple changes.
Yeah, right.
Okay, any questions for him?
I got some additions. I looked at some other policies other towns have, and thought of a couple additional things that we should be looking at, not necessarily pulling anything, but adding a couple things. Under Section 4, media access to emergency scenes, I think there should be a number 3 there about First Amendment events, where we see a lot of that now in the national level, where the media is behind working with the police or the demonstrators or watching what's going on. And, I thought, some of the wording that I had, I'll read it for you, that I found was media representation that covers protests, demonstrations, or assemblies shall be permitted to gather news in the areas restricted by the general public, providing they do not cause physical interference. Law enforcement personnel are prohibited from arresting, citing, or detaining any media personnel for failure to disperse during a curfew violation or being present during a restricted time period. That was a thought that I had.
Daniel will get all that in the minutes, right? So I
I
can,
don't know if anybody wants to discuss it or just, or I could go over a couple other minor things that I thought would be added. Number 6, safety concern. the last point there made, failure to comply with police or fire personnel. I think that should be the incident commander or their designee, not necessarily any fire personnel or any police personnel coming up and telling the media what to do. I think it should be somebody of authority from the incident commander or the designee from that person. And then in number 8, I thought an additional point should be made. Personnel shall not intentionally interfere, intimidate, obstruct, or retaliate any lawful media news gathering person or organization. So more or less letting the media do their job without being intimidated or threatened. And one last thing in number 13, first point, all personnel shall receive, I think should be yearly training, because we do have turnovers in the fire department and the police department, so they possibly could do it and they're in service. And add one additional point, this policy shall be incorporated into department's general orders, so that it's part of the document that the fire and the police can review. Those are a couple of my things that I thought about, and after looking at other policies, but overall it covered
Yeah,
just about everything.
I think they're
Thank you.
I think they're good.
The only question I have, and I'd like to hear from the two chiefs, is on number 6, you're saying failure to comply with police or fire personnel, you'd prefer to see the incident commander. I'm just curious, what if the incident commander is tied up? And
Or their
you get some,
designee, I put,
or, okay, all right, designee,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I would think the incident commander, I'm sorry, I would think the incident commander, it's not going to be realistic for him to come up there, but his designee, public information officer, et cetera, that would be more realistic for have him up there. A deputy chief or a senior person acting as a spokesperson, that would be more realistic. I think Fran's intent is, at least from the fire department standpoint, Fran's intent, at least I'm reading, is just a private saying, you're too close, get away, just move away.
Right.
And someone who may not have the knowledge or the experience
Exactly.
of that senior person. So I can understand what you're saying on that.
Okay.
I have a little opposition or opposing point.
Sure.
For officers, they're sworn. We have statutes that we uphold, right? Interfering with officer, interfering with the firemen, there's also statutes there too, under 167A. So I'm of the mindset that if we're on a scene, that if our officer who is sworn, been through the police academy and is asking someone to move back outside of a perimeter or to relocate, that should, if it's a valid and lawful order, it should be listened to and followed, and they should be empowered to enforce the law if they need to. I don't think it's be more difficult to pull a chief or a lieutenant or a sergeant off of the command post to come out and interact with one or individual who's just not getting it or is pushing the limit. So I could, and no offense, chief, I mean, we on being sworn and being on the side of upholding those statutes, having been trained to do that, I can understand where maybe bringing the fire department into a level of training, understand the statutes a little bit better, or come to us for assistance. But we've put our right hand up in the air to enforce these statutes and the Constitution. I think our men and women are trained well enough to know if someone's not following the rules or following a legal order, then we need to be empowered to be able to enforce that.
Sure. You're thinking in that section that we just read, failure to comply with police or fire personnel instructions? Do you think that's where you're referring to?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. I mean, if you want to go and cite, I don't have it in front of me, but we certainly can cite the interfering with police statute, or reference someone who fails to follow a lawful order. Coming from a law enforcement officer, firemen are empowered on scenes to give orders to civilians. It is protected under the statute of interfering, so we can enforce the statute if a fireman is asking someone to step away and they're interfering with their duties. We can arrest them for that, for interfering with their activities. So that's what the statute serves. And maybe just to go have the attorney take another look at that statute, I can give you the number and see if it can be incorporated. But I do think if they're receiving a lawful order from either a fireman or a sworn police officer, that it should leave us the room to have the discretion to enforce it.
There is a part about a lawful order, that what is considered lawful order. There is on section 9, it says violation of a lawful order. I had a question mark. What do you consider, or what's the law? I guess the attorney can answer, what's a lawful order?
I think if you were to ask a police officer on a scene and he asked someone to step back 6 feet, that would be a pretty appropriate lawful order. I think if we asked them to do jumping jacks and push-ups, probably not. But I think but our people are trained to manage scenes. Fire chief's been there a long time, as deputy chiefs. I mean, it's our obligation to keep that scene safe and free of interference. And if we're asking someone to step 6 feet that way, I would like to think that would be about all we need to say this is a lawful order. Now, the court may disagree, the person or persons may disagree that it's not, but if a law enforcement officer is saying move back 10 feet, that's a lawful order in my book.
But as we know, this came about because media personnel was told by one of your police officers to step back, you know, or don't take photos. So this all developed because of some of this stuff. And that's why I think we come to this, to create a uniform policy.
I think we looked at this incident together, the fire chief and I, and recognized that we could have been more effective as a team to put up the yellow line earlier in the scene, but
Okay.
there wasn't enough hands to do that. And had his command or our commanders worked together to put up a scene with tape,
Correct.
I don't know necessarily that this incident takes place.
Probably not.
But that was a large, active, dynamic scene. The fire chief is running multiple calls at the same time. Our sergeant's controlling the traffic. I had shown up, and be honest with you, it didn't. It looked like it was very well peaceful, well taken care of. It's just a learning, one of those learning opportunities where you say what we could have done better after talking about it.
Right.
And we have had those conversations together, that if we were to isolate or insulate that scene with tape and create a strong, firm line, that we don't have this conversation a second time.
Correct. That's what wasn't done, and it hasn't been at a lot of the scenes where a designated area is being set.
It's
you
an
know.
ideal world, we'd be able to set up within 5 or 6 minutes. In reality, that's probably low on the checklist when we're making sure lives and liberty are safe, and we're pulling, in this case, not to get too deep in the weeds about this incident, but when this
Right.
is occurring, this isn't more than 20 minutes into the scene. Like, the scene hadn't even stabilized, and this was at a time when the patient's life was still at risk and in danger, and that was the priority, nothing more.
Correct. Okay, all right. So I just want to look at that area. Failure to comply with police or fire personnel instructions as it's written. The thing is that numerous police or fire could tell, different personnel could tell somebody something different every time. I think that's why a designee or a one needs to be there, you know.
Yeah,
One police officer could say something to this guy, he moves there, and next police officer says, no, you can't be there. It's like, you know, it gets confusing.
Well, Fran, I think you need to rely on us to coordinate at our unified command post.
I agree.
And,
Yes.
you know, in reference to the police, these guys are trained and trained very well to work independently. Police officers, there's one police officer in a cruiser, and these guys work great solo. When we work, there's 4 to 6 in a crew. So we work as a crew and we work together, and that crew does a task. So we're working in that dynamic. So we're always coordinating, no matter what. And I can go back, you know, less than 24 hours ago in an incident on Brookwood, we're coordinating. And it works out very well. We're getting better and better at it all the time. And, you know, I think the proof is in the next incident, that it happens. So I think we just put that in there. However, the wording works out best. And let us do our job, and if we gotta tweak it down the road, we'll tweak it, but just, we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen right.
I think the important thing to that point, Mike, is, and I know what Fran is trying to get to, is the consistency. So if there's an incident where fire department's not there, but it's an incident with the police department, that they handle things consistently as if you were an incident, your crew was at an incident without police there, and the media is there, that the media receives the same communication, whether it's from the fire department or police. So I think that's what we're trying to get to.
Well, I think between this policy, which goes across the board to all agencies, the training that's gonna go along with this policy,
It's helpful.
I think you're gonna see that. I think you're gonna see that happen.
Yep.
And with everything that's gone along with this policy, we're 4 months into this now. I don't think anybody's gonna cross it either. So I think you're gonna see strict adherence to it.
So the next step, Ray, is, can we approve this with
Wow.
changes?
I'd rather see one complete again, and maybe we could discuss it
With the
again.
changes?
Yeah.
Okay,
the
so
changes.
I'm good with number 4, adding number 3, the First Amendment protests,
Okay,
what have you, right?
yep.
And then number 8, no, number 6, yeah, this is what we just talked about. Do you want me to incorporate Fran's?
Well, I understand what these guys are saying, but I'm just trying to get some consistency.
Right, right.
With what we want. How can we word that? And I'll turn it over to the
Do
chiefs.
you want me to figure that out for next time, or do you want to
Sure.
do it now, or?
You know,
I mean,
discuss it with you guys.
Listen, word it
whatever.
however you have to word it. You're not gonna hurt our feelings, so
No, but I
put it
understand
in
what
there,
chief is
that
saying.
makes sense.
They have
no-
legal arrest powers.
Every scene,
Discuss it.
every call are uniquely different, right? We might have an accident at Main and those are pretty much the same. But if we get into a dynamic situation, there is no way to predict how many people we need, where they're gonna be standing, what that scene looks like, where the trucks are parked. It's just too much. What I need for our officers to be successful is be given the authority and given the right to enforce statute if they need to, but also through this ordinance, respect it and understand that there's limits to what they can do. But to find one person on scene to carry that message continuously is really not feasible, in my opinion.
But there is an incident. The fire chief is in charge of a fire.
Yes.
Overviews everybody, you know, they're in charge.
I suppose maybe we're missing each other, is just that I don't think that we can't be pulling our commanders, our sergeants, our lieutenants off of the scene, the incident command scene, to come talk to someone who's upset over here. If it's coming from a lawful order from an officer, that's good enough. And if I'm on the scene, I'm giving that authority to my people every single time. That's what they need to do their job. And to expect they gotta run back over to the chief or lieutenant and be like, sir, I need you to run over here and talk to this guy, it is not feasible, it would not work, and it really undermines their authority. You imagine they're saying, I can't do anything, I gotta talk to my boss first, I'll be right back, and we're hauling Lieutenant Smith over to say, bless the action. So it's that autonomy that they need to enforce their law. Those are professionals. Do we get it right more than we get it wrong? We sure do.
Correct.
But I do understand where you're going with the policy. Just,
Okay.
I'm very protective of making sure we're not limiting their ability to do their job.
Right. If you don't mind, I'll come up with something and we'll figure it out next
And
month.
number 8, you added, I didn't catch that one. Daniel, did you catch that?
I just have the personnel should not intentionally interfere. I couldn't catch the remainder of that.
And if interfere, intimidate, obstruct, or retaliate any lawful media, news person, or organization.
All right, we'll have that recorded anyway.
Yeah, look
so.
at that too. Discuss it. And then you just had 13,
13, okay, yearly training,
right?
and then general orders and general rules.
Right. If that's all right, that good with you guys?
All right,
Thanks.
Okay.
table?
Table
Or,
it.
I'm sorry,
Table?
Yeah,
motion table.
yeah, motion table.
Motion to table it.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nothing for new business, other business. I do, for the record, want to apologize to Fire Marshal Renstrom. He was here to say some comments about concierge, and I think I totally missed it. So maybe as things get wrapped up, he can attend next meeting. Okay, that's it. Motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Chief. Thank you, guys.